As Mr. Ed said, I'm Kent Hamilton. I'm from South Georgia, from Norman, a vegetable grower. Didn't come from a vegetable growing family. My mother's side of the family, they farmed. They were row crop farmers, grew cotton and peanuts. Get more into the vegetable business to support me coming into the farming operation. And so we started growing some zucchini squash. We were growing a little bell pepper, just stuff that we could harvest and field pack, and we were taking those to our local farmers market. And one thing kind of led to another. We eventually built a small plant. We just kind of grew from there as we had money to expand. We added on to the packing house. We put in more, set up more land for plastic. We added labor camps and got more. Realized if we were going to have direct business, meaning be able to deal with chain stores and wholesalers and whatnot and sell direct to them, that we was going to have to get into a more of a year-round operation. So in Georgia, we have a spring crop and then we have a fall crop. Our spring is primarily May and June, and then our fall crop is September and October and on into November, and then we have cabbage that goes on till around the first. There was a shipping service that was opening up from Tampa, Florida, over to the Port of Progreso, which is right on the tip of the Yucatan. The agronomist said he went to school at the University of Florida. He spoke good English, an older fella, and he had been working with other growers in the peninsula, so he showed us land and whatnot that was available there. And we decided that after looking at it, we decided if we was going to get product out of there, we was just going to have to get on there and do it ourselves. So that's what we did in 2003. And we produced our first crop in February of 2004. We started out with we had about 150 acres the first year, and we're up now to about 800. 2 years ago, we were to the point where we just wasn't hardly going to be able to continue to operate. We had invested so much money in the house and land and equipment and containers to ship product back with. We'd invested so much money until we were just upside down, and things wasn't going well there. We had produced the first crop we produced a pretty good crop. But I got an agronomist that works with me down there that's from Yucatan, and he basically took care of the first crop. We've got a fertilizer plant there where we can melt down fertilizer, and either we didn't have all the raw ingredients or we didn't have all of our plant put together. I don't remember which it was, but I was busy trying to finish up with the packing house and get all the other infrastructure together. So I let him take care of growing the first crop, and we had a beautiful crop. It was excellent. We had good yields, good quality. It was great. And I thought, well, when we get this fertilizer plant up and going where we can really put fertilizer to it, then what will we make? And that was a mistake, a big mistake. I realized then that, if you want to make more crop, doesn't necessarily mean you need to put more fertilizer to it. I saw him working with an agronomist from North Carolina that had helped me. We were farming on plastic and drip, and he told me how much dry material to put down. And then when we were growing the crop, he told me what we need to inject, or what foliar fertilizers we need to spray on. So I was depending on him, and I was just getting it done, getting it put out, getting it sprayed on, monitoring diseases, getting the crop grown, and getting it harvested. So I really didn't know a lot about what I was doing. With this same agronomist, I got him to go with me to Mexico and help me down there. I felt like with farming in Georgia, farming is farming no matter where you're at. And I guess that is true, but there's a lot about farming down the valley of about 30,000 acres, and it's beautiful, flat farmland that's either in woods or grown up in weeds. So the land that we're farming down there is much different from what we're growing in Georgia. Well, I carried the same agronomist with me down there, and he basically told me to do the same thing we were doing in Georgia, which was applying a lot of fertilizer, but not a lot of NP and K, mainly K, or nitrogen and potassium. We put our phosphorus about 2 years ago. After we started fertilizing and all that we did in Georgia down there, our crops just kind of fell apart. It seemed like when we started injecting the fertilizer, it's like the plants didn't like it. Part of the way through the first year, things were going good, but then once we got our fertilizer plant up and going, we went injecting fertilizer and it just wasn't working. Well, I thought, that just can't be. So things through the years, I went to a different agronomist. He changed a few things, but it was basically the same thing. And I was just at my wits end. I had farmed all my life, basically listening to what the extension agent said, listening to what the soil sample, the soil lab people had told me, the recommendations they made. And if the recommendations they made wasn't right, well, I didn't. And Pete Collins came by and brought me the book, More Food from Soil Science. And I read that book, and in that book, it spelled out a lot, it touched on a lot of different things that I saw in Mexico that they said do or don't do, that I saw, and he specifically said the problems that would arise from that. And those were some of the same problems that I was having. So I got to pursuing that a little more, and we made some changes, and things have really turned around in our operation. We're back to in a comfortable financial position. We're growing good quality products. We got good demand for our product. It's just a totally different situation. The thing about growers is y'all give the tools that the farmer needs, helps teaching what's going on in the soil, and helps me make my own decision. I'm in the field every day looking at these crops. I can, take what I know, what I've learned, and constantly learning, and be able to tell what's going on, be able to see what's going on, be able to see what's going on in my tissue samples, and be able to interpret them and understand what they mean. Whereas before I couldn't do that. So I feel I'm a lot freer to farm and take the whole situation into my hands now.